Assalamu alaikum everybody, this is Famida. So I'm just going to demonstrate and show you some of the activities that we've got ready for half term. Given that it's the pandemic and children will most likely not be able to do much at home, we've tried to get together some activities to keep young minds stimulated and that learning to keep going on. So we've created these little homework packs and activity packs. And the theme is mainly based around the hungry caterpillar, as that's been the focus story for the last couple of weeks. And there's a lot of learning that can go on from that story. And I'll just demonstrate some of the activities that we've got for you. So here is something about number sequencing, using the hungry caterpillar as the character for the work. And so you can just see that, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's numbers at the bottom and then you have an empty box at the top. And you're simply going to be counting on from a number. So here, for example, there's 4 and 6. So you could start from, if your child is struggling and cannot identify that it's 4, 5 and 6, you can start from number 1 and go up, but then you'd bring attention to the fact that it's number 4. So for example, you'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so that's going to indicate to the child, okay, this is number 5. And so here we're assessing the sequencing of numbers, but also we will be looking at the formation of numbers as well. So either way, just give us some feedback as to where your child is with that at home, so we can see if the learning is continuing, inshallah. We have these little hungry caterpillar books. They're very cute. There is a space for the name, so you can get your child to try and write their name. Even if it's squiggles and you can't really see any letters being formed, don't worry about it. It's more that the children are having that experience of trying to make meaningful marks, which is part of the EYFS anyway. And so let your child have a go at writing the names. Read the title to them, so you're introducing words like the title of the book, and you can extend that learning to maybe if you have books at home, drawing attention to the title of the book. So here we'd say The Very Hungry Caterpillar, and you can ask your child to retell the story because they have been going over it quite a few times. So this booklet is quite simple. What I'll try and do with you today is just not only look at the activities, I won't go through every single page, but look at how you can extend the learning. So for example, on this one, it's about matching the number to the right quantity of fruits. So for example, obviously you'd count the pears and then you'd go through the numbers and try and match them. But once you've done that, maybe with each one, to make it more of a kinesthetic style of learning where they're moving around. So for example, the first one where you'd say count the pears, or what are these rather, open-ended questions. And so they would go through the fruits and hopefully name the fruits appropriately. And so when you've counted the 2 pears and then you've matched it to the number 2, you can then ask your child, okay, from the room, can you find 2 similar items? So it could be that they will go and find 2 cushions and bring it to you. It could be that they go and get 2 pencils and bring it to you, or 2 spoons and bring it to you. But the objective there is to identify the quantity, so that you can extend that learning that way. And then similar things with like shapes, like the circles. On this one it says how many green pieces here, but you can replace that word to circles. And similarly you can ask them, can you point to any circles that you see in the room? So they might point to a clock. Or something similar, a plate. Or you might prepare the room to have some shapes and objects with circles. So you might prepare something, you might have plates and biscuits and so forth. So things that are ordinarily available in your home, and you can extend the learning that way. And then we've got, so I'm focusing on a bit of phonics right now. So we're going over phonics phase 2 at the nursery. So introducing initial sounds. So on this one, we've got the pictures to give that cue for children to name the object. And then, for example, this first one is tap. So you would just sound out the first sounds of the letters. You're not going to say T-A-P, for example. You'd say T, and then you'd blend them together, so T, tap. At the bottom here you have some squares with the letters on it, and you'd get your child and with yourself to cut those out and place them in the correct order. Now there are more learning objectives you can achieve just by cutting. So what we don't want you to do is cut it out for your child. Okay, we'd like your child to do it, but you can role model how to do it initially. So you would say, okay, let's grip the scissors. Okay, you can ask them, where are your scissors, or what are these called, etc. And then you can show them how to hold the scissors. This increases the strength in your child's hands, in their wrists, and their fingers, and it increases muscular development and those fine motor skills. So getting your child to learn how to use the scissors, opening and closing. Obviously you get child-sized scissors, and in the future we're hoping to get together more resources so we can facilitate those little bits of equipment for you. But child-sized scissors obviously will be more safe for your child to use, and then you can role model how to do it. And these activities are designed for you to work with your child, so it's spending more time together and getting involved in your child's learning. So like I said, you'd cut these out and then you'd put them in the right places with your child. So it's about identifying initial sounds, middle sounds and end sounds. Don't worry if your child isn't getting there yet. It's more about getting involved and trying to learn the names of the sounds, which brings me on to this next activity. So this one is one where we're asking you to cut out the shapes with your child, each card. Each card has an initial sound. Do bear in mind, we're not asking you to name the letters. We're asking you to sound out the blends of the letters. So it will be S, A, I, N, not S-A-I-N, because they won't be able to blend the sounds to then develop those words and read words. It's called CVC words. CVC stands for consonant, vowel, consonant words, which is what these would be, the three-letter words. So what we'd like you to do, we have supplied some coloured card. What we'd like you to do is just simply cut them out and stick them on the card and cut them out. So it's a bit creative, and your child will be engaged. But while you're doing that, you can teach them the sounds as you're going along. So this one is, so obviously the picture is hands, but then you can talk about, you might have pictures, cue cards of a house, hen, and so on. So any card that you're working on, and please don't do this all in one day. Take it in little groups, maybe groups of 3 or 4 or 2, dependent on how your child's doing, and just focus on those, but keep going back to the cards that they've made and go over the sounds. Because what we found is when children make their own resources, they're more inclined and more likely to learn greater than if something was just given pre-made. And so that's that one. And then we've got another maths-based activity. This is using, the pictures are based on a resource that we have at the nursery called Numicon. And in the future we'll be trying to give you little bags of 1 to 10 of the shapes, so you can play with your child at home. But this is about adding and shapes and counting on. Again, for example, the first one is 2 add 1. Obviously you'd figure that out and count on with your child. But once you've done that, you can then go on to say, again, similar to before, can you find 2 of the same object in the room? They'd go and get it, and then you'd say, can you find 1 more? It could be the same object or it could be something else. And then you put them together and then ask them to count it all together. So it's about teaching the concept of adding to mean more. Adding would mean that the quantity increases. So that's that one. So with anything that you're doing with the children with these activities, feel free to extend it in ways that works best for you and your child. And then just please do put everything back into this pack. And any photos or anything that you can take while you and your child are working together, we'll be very grateful for. We would love to publish that and promote the learning going on at home as well, and share what we're doing as a setting and how we're working with families as well. So we really appreciate that. But in the meantime, enjoy these activities, and we will see you after half term. Keep safe.